Hello everyone, my name is Nusufia and I will be presenting my group project which is Security Risk and Analysis on Mobile Payment and Digital Wallets in Asia Pacific region. This is my group project's member. For our introduction, based on the recent studies since the pandemic outbreak started, digital and online payments usage have significantly increased and become the third most popular payment method in Asia Pacific region. So this is our security risk in concerns. As you can see, there are a lot of news in 2020 that relate to cybersecurity threats, which is also data breach in fraudulent. In our project, we will be involving 4 digital wallets and mobile application, which is Alipay, Gojek, LinePay, and Razorpay. So next, I will pass to my friend for explanation on Alipay, Gojek.
A very good afternoon to Dr. Tan and friends. So I'm Mei Jun and now I'll be presenting on Alipay. So Alipay was established in Hangzhou, China in February 2004 by the Alibaba Group, which was founded by one of the most successful businessmen known as Ma Yun or Jack Ma. And Alipay is one of the most commonly used digital wallets worldwide, meaning not only in China. Okay, so now it's the payment flow for Alipay. And for this one, we'll focus on the website payment. So both the diagram and the steps are extracted from the Alipay's official website. So first of all, the customer will check out on the merchant website and chooses the option which is the Alipay to pay for what the customer wants to buy. Next, the merchant system will send a transaction request to Alipay, where Alipay will actually return a payment QR code linked to the merchant system. And the merchant system will present and display the payment QR code on the screen. And finally, the customer will scan the QR code to make the payment. So for the confidentiality of users' information for Alipay. So Alipay actually uses a variety of security measures and technology designed to help protect the user's information against various threats, which includes unauthorized access, use, disclosure, alteration, or even the destruction of data, and so much more. And Alipay also has policies that help to keep users' personal information for as long as it is necessary in order to provide users with the Alipay services. And that's all for Alipay.
And my part is GoPay. GoPay stems from Gojek, but what is GoPay? GoPay is a digital payment system made by the company that created Gojek. While Gojek is a multi-service tech platform that provides a wide variety of services that includes transport, payment, food delivery, logistics, and more. When and where did it start? Gojek was founded in 2010 in Indonesia. When it began, it was just a call center with a fleet of 20 motorcycle drivers, which are called ojeks, which is also the inspiration for the name Gojek. GoPay, on the other hand, is the digital payment under Gojek. It was created in 2017 by Aldi Harya Pratomo. How the payment works is that they store Gojek credits which can be topped up with real money through ATM or internet banking to be used in their applications like GoRide, GoCar, GoSend, GoFood, and etc. The security for GoPay has a couple of security features which includes having encryption for the payment card data on separate physical servers, an SMS login where it's necessary to log in via cardholder's registered mobile phone, 3D security, SSL communication, and it's also verified PCI DSS level 1.
Next, I will be explaining on LinePay. LinePay is a payment method that is available for Line members at the LinePay affiliated store sites. It is launched at Tokyo, Japan on 16 December 2014 as one of the new features for Line application. So this is the payment flow between customer and shop site for LinePay apps. Next, we go to security of LinePay. LinePay required a separate and exclusive password that is different from the password used for Line apps. It also required the users to verify their account each time they were making payment. LinePay companies also utilize a monitoring system that detects and reports any accounts that are suspected of illicit activity.
ResuPay was established in 2013 by a former students of Indian Institute of Technology, which is Harshil Mathur and Shashank Kumar. It performs a normal transaction but more focusing on creating a money management products for merchants. It's only released on India to help the merchants and people of India simplifying the payments to the easiest and strictly safe way. For the payment flow, when the customer places an order on the website or apps, the ResuPay will process the orders and send an order ID to you. Then the customer will fill the sensitive information, and then the ResuPay will take the sensitive information, secure and store it as a token. After that, the ResuPay will send the authentication request to the banks and deduct the amount of bank accounts according to the product price after an appropriate authentication. ResuPay applied multiple security assessment methods such as PCI DSS, TLS web server, and many more to ensure the data of every transaction is strictly secure.
So for our scope of study, the latest cybersecurity threats that we were discussing and security of our mobile application that we choose led us to our scope of study, which is confidentiality of users' information. Confidentiality is protecting the information from being accessed by other parties except for the authorized parties. In other words, only people who are involved in the transaction can gain access to the confidential information. A failure to keep the confidentiality means that someone who should not have access has managed to get it through the intentional behavior or by accident. This failure is commonly known as a breach and usually cannot be remedied because once the information leaks, there is no way to cover it. Our security assessment method, there are various security assessment methods or framework that serve for security purposes. For this project, we will be involving 4 existing security assessment methods or framework, which is PCI DSS, authentication and authorization, GDPR framework, and SOC2.
Next, I'll be moving on to the security method. And the security method that I would be presenting on would be the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, also known as PCI DSS. So PCI DSS is founded in 2004, and the founding members are American Express, Discover Financial Services, JCB International, MasterCard, and Visa. The latest version of PCI DSS is PCI DSS 4.0, which is set to be released next year in the mid-2021. So PCI DSS has various functions and objectives, which includes building and maintaining a secure network, protecting cardholder data, maintain a vulnerability management program, implement strong access control measures, regularly monitor and test networks, as well as maintaining an information security policy. So basically, all 4 mobile payment applications that are involved in our project uses PCI DSS, and the 4 mobile applications are Alipay, Gojek, which is also known as GoPay, LinePay, and RazorPay. And that's all for PCI DSS.
Authentication and authorization, or multi-factor authentication. Authentication is where the system requires to know who exactly is accessing the account, where the user trying to log in has to prove they are the owner of the account. Usually this would come in the form of username and password. Authorization is the term or process by which the system determines if the account has a proper permission to purchase things online. or to transfer money or credits. In multi-factor authentication, even if the person trying to access the account knows both the username and password, they would require additional source of confirmation. This will come in the form of email or SMS or other ways. It can also be implemented for purchasing objects online as an additional confirmation under authorization. With multi-factor authentication tool, even if the third party somehow acquires both the username and password to the account, they wouldn't be able to log in, as they would require an additional authentication in the form of email or SMS notification that requires confirmation. Nowadays, many applications have taken authentication as a serious risk. Google, Apple, Valve, Microsoft, all these companies uses multi-factor authorization for all their Google accounts, App Store accounts, Steam accounts, and Microsoft accounts.
Next is GDPR framework, which is General Data Protection Regulation Framework, also called GDPR. GDPR is a set of new rules of digital data privacy in the European Union (EU) and European Economic Area (EEA). It was developed around 2012 and came into force in 2016 as the new EU framework. GDPR also comes with the important regulations on how an organizations or companies should use the user's information, privacy information. It also comes complete with the requirements for data processing, such as collection, organizing, using, sharing, storing, and destruction of data that must be fulfilled by every organization and companies. These two, which is regulations and requirement for data processing, is considered as the function of GDPR. For requirements, first is same law as European Union that applies to all EU member states as it is the new EU framework. Next is use of personal data must be legal to prevent fraud and perform marketing. There are 6 legal bases that must be obeyed, which is to motivate a processing of data with consent, performance of contract, legal obligation, interest of data subject or another individual, task of public interest, and legitimate interest of data controllers. Third requirement is personal data breach must be reported within 72 hours. Was the companies or organization aware of the data breach that happens? They have 72 hours to report to the relevant supervisory. Next is respectful to users' right and use of personal information in an integrity way. Respectful to the user's right means that user has the right to know if their information leaked, and use personal information in an integrity way means that all the information collected must have a reason. They are not allowed to collect data with an excuse just in case. Fifth requirement is business controllers will be responsible for their suppliers. Based on the new law, controllers must be responsible for the suppliers that follow the data protection law. And the last requirement is organizations or companies that violate the law will face fines and penalties. The fine range is from 10 million euros to 4% of the company global sales. Minimum fine that could have been is 10 million euros, and the highest fine that ever happened, which is in 2019, cost 50 million euros. For mobile payment that use GDPR, GDPR is being used for a lot of mobile application. Being used by a lot of organizations and companies as a security purposes. It also includes 4 mobile payments that we choose for our project, which is Alipay, GoPay, LinePay, and Razorpay.
Security Organization Control 2, or known as SOC2, it's originally introduced on 2010 by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, AICPA. The framework organized based on the Trust Service Criteria Standard that contains 5 trust service principles, which are security, availability, processing, confidentiality, and privacy. There are two types of SOC2, which is SOC2 type 1 and SOC2 type 2. The functions of this framework is first is security, which refers to protection of system resources against unauthorized access. The second is confidentiality. The data access is restricted to a specified set of persons or organization. Integrity. The processing integrity principle address whether or not a system achieves its purpose. Privacy. The use, collection, retention, disclosure, and disposal of personal information is protected. And the last one is availability. The protection that systems or data will be available as agreed or required. The mobile apps that uses the SOC2 is Razorpay, McAfee, and Insight.
So our conclusion is the summary of our presentation 1, which is the cybersecurity attacks such as fraud and data breach has led us to our scope of study, which is confidentiality of users' information. In addition, we have chosen 4 types of mobile payments and digital wallets from various countries in Asia Pacific region, and all of the applications that we choose are strongly emphasize the confidentiality of their users' information. For security assessment method, we will be involving 4 existing security assessment methods or framework, which are Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard (PCI DSS), Authentication and Authorization, General Data Protection Regulation Framework (GDPR), and Service Organization Control Tool (SOC2). So that's all from us. Thank you.